back to Japan, where I'm going to be giving you a reaction and review to ALIA with In Stop Detto. Whatever that means. So, as always, if you want to hear me reacting to the song, I'm about to give you the review, so you need to pause this one, click the link in the description below to open a separate little player which will show you the reaction that I've just done. And then, so basically, if you haven't heard the song, you can hear it with me, or if you just want to see my reaction, then like I say, pause this one, click that link in the description below, and you'll be able to see my reaction firsthand. So I'm about to give you the review now. Are you ready? I've got hiccups from all the coffee I've been drinking. Here it comes. You ready? You ready? Sure you're ready? Okay, review time. So I didn't warn you. All right, so this song really impressed me in a lot of ways. Now, we're going to be completely honest and always break down the good and the bad, but overall, 5 for 5. I've got to admit, every ALIA song I've heard so far has really taken me in its own way. I really enjoyed this one. It had a lot of colour, a lot of fun. Now, this certainly went in perhaps more of a identifiably what's that noise? Identifiably pop direction, current pop style direction than some of their other songs. And not to say their other songs are not poppy at times, and they do very accessible songs a lot of the time. However, this one is definitely very much of a radio-friendly ilk. And yet, like I said in the reaction, it really maintains an identity where you can hear it's them, you can hear the artistry coming through. And there's a few factors that really worked about this, so I'm going to try and break them down individually. Now, if we're looking primarily at just what the song is in its simplest core, it has that kind of funky pop quality of we're going to lay out the chords with little stabs, steady beat underneath, like a very free-flowing sort of vocal style in the verses, and then a chorus which is, has, big held notes that you can imagine everyone singing along to, and the music building up for. So, kind of get your normal, sort of pop tropes. The sort of thing that has actually been, I'm going to give this comparison again, I've given this comparison a couple of times in the history of this channel, but a sort of style is kind of mainly done by groups like Maroon 5 these days. It is a simple formula that makes a song kind of funky and at the same time poppy in that kind of way. So, although very different, it has some of the qualities that I think people would associate with sort of hits by groups like Maroon 5. And yet this has something of an identity that I think groups like Maroon 5 lost from their original sort of sound, which is, it's got something different. It's got sounds in there that you wouldn't normally hear with that. They've taken that formula and they've added to it. They've adapted it. They've done some interesting things on there. Now, one of the things that I liked about this, I really like the singer's voice. I really just love the way that she sings. I think she sings with a huge amount of passion and a real sort of, there's just a real infectious quality to the way she sings. However, a lot of the other tones that really helped this were partly down to the keyboard player. The keyboard player did an interesting job. I did notice that in the chorus, when the chorus comes in, a lot of the distorted sounds that you hear in the background holding down the chord pattern, it's not even so much the guitar, it's actually the keyboard player's got like a sort of, well, not a distorted, but a very sort of harsh synth sound, which is playing underneath alongside the guitar that kind of gives you this crisp chord pattern sound, this crisp underneath sound to the song, which is actually a mixture of guitar and synth. So it's kind of interesting. It's different from just sort of your normal strumming rock sound. And it is made by, like I say, a marriage of that synth sound and the guitar sound, which is really well picked. They go well together. And it also is a fairly mid-range sound. It's not too low and growly, not too rocky, which therefore means you've got more room for underneath the lower areas of the EQ of the frequency to have more room for bass, more room for the kick drum, so that everything can maintain a sort of funky quality as well. So it was interesting how the sounds were balanced. There were really interesting uses of sounds in here. But in the verses, the synth with the keyboard player and the synthesized sounds were doing some really interesting things. You got some, it was sort of playing around, being colourful, occasionally going to like a piano-y sound I heard at points, which was adding little colour between the notes. There was just all kinds of interesting things coming out of the keyboard. And I've got to admit, I'm really impressed by the keyboard player. He's doing some, in all of the songs, he seems to really know what sound to pick, where to put it in, and really accents the right thing in the right place. So I think he's responsible for a lot of what makes their sound so identifiably interesting, in that they write really good songs and they deliver them really well, but he adds a fantastic colour to it. And that's what you want different from a keyboard player. Keyboard player, like I always say, is the member of the band, and you should be happy if you've got a keyboard player, because they can pretty much pick whatever sound they want. I know guitarists have their guitar effects pedals, but it's nothing compared to what a keyboard player can pull out. They can be any sound at any point, and they can change between various sounds throughout the song. And obviously keyboard, you've got a full range of notes. You can play 10 notes. You can play as many notes as you've got fingers. It is one of the most powerful instruments to have in a band. Certainly if you want to add color and identity to individual songs. And he's doing that fantastically. And this was a real prime example of that. But then on top of that, I was kind of like, as the song was going on, I was like, where's the violin? I want the violin. It's like, well, when's she going to come in? And then they, although I felt like they sandbagged on that for quite a while, when they did eventually bring her in, it was perfect. I wasn't expecting her to play sort of fiddle style. And just sort of this fiddle playing was just, I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. It was totally unexpected and yet worked perfectly. It sounded like, it reminded me of, go back to the 90s, the Irish group, the Corrs, who would just sort of do, your standard middle of the road 90s, sort of pop songs, and then just suddenly Irish sounds like fiddle would come in, and just somehow it just worked. Because, if the underpinning, the core of the song is solid enough anyway, then you can kind of do that, because it just is putting another layer on top rather than changing anything fundamentally about the song. And that's what they were doing here. It came in and it added like a sort of a charm to the song without detracting from anything that was already going on, because it's just a top layer. With all of the times we've heard guitar solos, and again, nothing against guitarists, but it's a very ubiquitous sound. It's one that you hear a lot. With all the guitar solos we've heard, hearing someone do a fiddle solo in a song, you got to admit that's refreshing and it's charming. And it certainly is not what you expect to hear most of the time. Even when a group's got a violinist, you just don't expect that to come in the middle of a sort of a pop song that sounds so radio friendly. But it worked brilliantly played. And I like the fact that they, once that had been played out in the solo, they kept that sound around for the last chorus to add extra color and extra layering to the final chorus, give it a bit of a crescendo quality. Just everything about this was really nicely delivered, charming, and it did that thing which is so, to me, so important as someone who really likes pop music. I mean, I love pop music as much as I like any other genre, rock, hard rock, anything like that. I like pop just as much. And what I want to hear is I want to hear a marriage between the things that pop does best, which is one, being catchy, infectious, and having an earworm quality, which this, I believe, does have. Might not be the catchiest song ever, but it's pretty damn good for catchiness. Definitely has that sort of fun, infectious quality. You really move with the beat of it. And at the same time, the thing that pop music can do, which is sort of more than any other genre, is pop is not really tied to a sound. You can put any sound into a pop song. You can put metal guitars into a pop song and still have pop. You can take anything. You can put sounds from country. You can take sounds from traditional, folk music. You can take sounds from EDM. You can take rap and put it in there. The thing about pop music is it basically is just, the only thing that defines the sound is having a sort of a enjoyably infectious quality. So I guess you'd probably say like having a catchy beat and a good chorus. So tonally, you can do anything in pop and have pop. So like I say, this achieves the quality of having those core funky, catchy, infectious qualities, but then sonically does interesting things. They use the fact that as a band, they have a lot of sounds available to them. As always, I don't speak much about the guitarist and the bassist in this band, which is probably because the things they have that are so unique are in the terms of the violin and the keyboard. However, again, the guitar and the bass work nice and solid, and it just means that they have a real core underpinning to everything that is really tight. And the drum work is really good as well. I love the beats that they lay down in most of their songs. Really good in some of the songs, sort of changes up the beat at just the right place. In this one, just holds down a really nice, funky quality to it. Just every member of this band seems to be delivering something that works towards the whole perfectly. There's a real sort of harmonious unison between them in whatever they do, and they do seem to be able to switch it up quite well. So yeah, I'm really taken by this, really enjoy it. I'm also really taken by the variation in ALIA's songs. You've had some songs which have been by them kind of experimental, bordering on sort of well, I wouldn't say proggy, but, going in a bit of a crazy out there direction. They've had some songs that have been more hard rock. They've had some songs that have been very pop, in a sort of pop rock way, big sound. And this one going for more of a mainstream pop approach, but still always they maintain their identity, which I really love about that. They always give it a color that's clearly ALIA. So, I'm really taken by this group. I'm really enjoying them. I can't wait to hear more, and I certainly will. As always, regardless of how many views these videos get, I'm going to be listening to more of their songs, so I might as well share it with you guys as I do. But yeah, I'll definitely be listening to this song again. Really enjoyed it. And I want to point out as well, I always say this, although I've got nothing against artistic music videos, it's always good when a band has one or two music videos where you can really see the personality of the group and how much they enjoy doing what they do. Admittedly, I think ALIA have a lot of those, but this one really stood out. It was just great to see all of the members of the band having fun. The drummer is dancing king amongst other things, but just really cool to see them having fun. And they look like, from what you can tell, just from the videos and all that, they look like a good bunch of people who really love music, love doing what they're doing, and it shows in the output, which is just fantastic, real top-notch, great stuff. So really enjoying ALIA, really enjoying this song. As always, though, music is subjective. I'm trying to give a mixture of the subjective opinion and the objective opinion as being someone who's worked with music my entire adult life. However, you guys get in there, tell me what you think in the comments, whether you like it or not, whether you knew the song before or not. Just tell me what you think. Try to justify your opinions so we can start a nice conversation based on them. I read all the comments, even though I don't get a chance to reply to all of them. Certainly do try to learn from what you guys say. You can give me more suggestions on more songs to check out if you want to as well. Remember, liking and subscribing is much appreciated. There's also links in the description below to or if you like talking about Japanese music, definitely follow it to our Discord or to our Reddit, as well as Facebook, Twitter, our merch page, Patreon, because the patrons, you keep the channel alive, you know it's true. Much love to you and much appreciation to you for making it through to the end of this video, despite all of my waffle. So, until I hopefully see you in Japan soon for the next one of these, for now, ciao ciao.